CVSA said, we're not going to put drivers out of service for that anymore, so we're just going to let them go on down the road. Well, that ain't how the system should work, and we're pushing back.
The topic of English proficiency has certainly been a popular one as of late, and for good reason. Todd Spencer, president of OOIDA, joins me now to discuss the topic. Todd, thanks for coming down.
Hey, glad to. Always glad.
Now, you recently did an opinion piece for Landline magazine referring to this as a matter of life or death.
It certainly can be. And unfortunately, I suspect it is far too often. And as professionals, professional truckers, our members spend the majority of their waking, driving, working life on the road. Safety is the highest priority, and this is a loophole that needs to be addressed. And it's time. Actually, it's past time to have done it. It should have happened a long time ago.
Now, of course, online, there's a lot of misinformation. This isn't a new rule. Is that right?
No. This is a rule that's been on the books since the 1930s. And when you think about it, understand when it comes to airlines, the pilots, the international language for pilots is English, because it's critical to safety that people be able to communicate and understand each other. Same way for truckers.
Now, one thing I know you've said, this isn't about politics, right?
No, it's a matter of having the skills and the knowledge to be able to interpret the environment you're in, interpret the scenario, and for many instances, for truckers to avoid crashes, you have to know what to do in unusual situations. It's not just drive down the road or drive around cones. You have to know what to do when things are different, unexpected, and oftentimes signs. There are ways to determine what you need to do, and if you can't understand those, then you're creating an unsafe situation because bad things can happen.
Now, in your op-ed piece, you did actually reference an accident that happened in 2019. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, generally, there are mountains all over the U.S., big mountains that'll scare the bejesus out of you, even if you know everything. In certain situations when weather's bad, things like that. And on all of those, there are directions for truckers that will provide guidance as to how you descend hills safely. And if things go bad, this is where you go. We create runoff ramps. Now, I've never been in one and never wanted to be in one, but I know others have, and they can be life-saving tactics. But you have to be able to understand. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to understand to know they're there and take advantage of them. And unfortunately, too many new drivers certainly don't. And if you have the ability where you can't understand, can't comprehend what the signs mean, then it makes the situation even that much more worse. And we can do better than that. We've dropped the ball when it comes to testing and training and licensing. These things for truckers should be addressed at that level. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the basic abilities to operate safely, which includes being able to understand the environment around you, and oftentimes that comes from being able to read, then you're at a serious disadvantage, and that it's not just you, but it's the motoring public.
Mm-hmm. What prompted this to come back up in the media and kind of in the trucking world again? Well,
it's been a growing frustration among truckers. They notice what appears to be a growing population of drivers that clearly don't speak English as a first language, and too many don't speak English at all. And, there are ways to compensate for that when it comes to certain aspects of trucking. If you can get an address in a phone, well, then you can get it translated. And that's how many have gotten by. And, you run into instances where drivers are on the wrong roads. You run into instances where this very well may have been a contributing factor. truckers being in areas where they never, ever, ever should have been. And these kinds of the shortcuts that people employ to get around compliance are the very same things that will trap them in certain situations. And again, this is a profession. It's a critical profession, essential to the country. We can do better than that, and we should expect and demand that our people, that the people that run the show, hey, do your job. Let's address these issues up front. Now, when it comes to being able to communicate in English, that doesn't mean being able to recite the encyclopedia. But there are things you should learn, could learn, and that should be done. That should be done in the training process, and it should be verified in the testing process. And we should take all these things seriously.
What has and what is OOIDA doing to kind of push this along and hopefully get what you just mentioned?
Well, hey, as you mentioned earlier, the requirement to be able to communicate has been on the books since the 1930s. It was never rigorously enforced, and about 2015, the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance, this is a group of inspectors, truck cops, a dedicated police force just for truckers. And about 2015, they took it upon themselves to decide we're no longer going to enforce that regulation anymore. We may ride it, but we're not going to place a driver or a truck out of service. Now, bear in mind, placing a truck out of service is because you believe that truck and that driver would be an imminent hazard. And they take it upon themselves to say, okay, well, I guess that's not so. So they let it go on down the road. Driver qualifications has to be the most important element in highway safety, because no matter, you can be driving a rig that's a piece of junk, but if the person behind the wheel knows what the heck they're doing, they can compensate for those things. But if they don't, bad things will happen, even if that truck is brand new. So the focus is in the wrong area. And again, CVSA said, we're not going to put drivers out of service for that anymore. So we're just going to let them go on down the road. Well, that ain't how the system should work. And we're pushing back.
What can those listening and OOIDA members, what can they do to help this?
Well, we're going to always tell our members, truckers, communicate with your lawmakers. Communicate with your lawmakers that this one is an important issue. FMCSA needs to fix it. The agency needs to go out and look at all the training schools, look at all the training testers, and make certain that these folks are actually doing the job that they should be doing, that people are thoroughly trained and they're adequately and accurately tested to make sure that that driver is in compliance.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Hey, glad to, always.